Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
Guten Tag, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is episode Beta 8, or the 185th episode of Super Happy Dragon Lucky. I am Dave, and I'm filling in for Joe today. Glad to be here. Let's update all the things. Reminder, nothing on the show is financial advice, especially if it comes from me. I'm just a guy talking on the internet, but I'm going to pass on some updates about Dragonchain and Den.Social so we can all be on the same page about stuff. I'll do what I can with the AMA. We do an AMA on Super Happy Dragon Lucky every week. I'm not Joe, so I'll answer what I can. Maybe he'll pop in an answer for himself in the comments too, but we'll get to that after the updates here. So first things up is Dragonchain updates. What do we got? Super Happy Dragon Lucky lot distribution. Last week, the episode created 532 lot. There were 3 questions during the AMA that were awarded 66 lots each. There was a featured post that was also awarded 66 lot. The host of the show, which was Joe last week, got 66 lot, and Dragonchain itself received 200 lot for that episode. So there's a lot distribution. You can get those by participating. You can ask questions. You can have a piece of content that's featured on the show, and you can get those governance tokens. So that's pretty cool. Go get them. The DAO for Super Happy had some votes. Let's check those out. Results for shuttering the current events section. If you've been watching this, you notice that I glided right across that and did not do a current events update today because we voted to shutter that. We're not going to do that anymore. There is an alternative idea that we'll discuss in the featured post section after the AMA. So there was that, and that passed. That was approved. And then there's a vote on current events segment to showcase Dragonchain tech, which I believe also passed. And so we'll start doing that from now on, right? Definitely start, I guess, like giving ideas about what to showcase, right? That's going to probably be the thing there, is like week to week, what do we show off? What do we want to demonstrate? Things like that. So that passed. Thanks for that suggestion. I am. And good morning to you too. I see you over there in chat. So thanks for joining us. So there's the 2 Super Happy Dragon Lucky DAO, Dragonchain layer DAO votes. Both of those passed, and so that'll be changes going forward. That's really all I've got for Dragonchain section. Now for Den, we've got some more stuff going on. That's my bread and butter. I'm always on the Den stuff, right? You'll see me bouncing around Den over on the coffee layer and stuff like that. So I'm happy to talk about that. On the agenda here, we've got LCP. So today, commitment phase is hot. 2023 for February. You can go vote on layers. If you have a Den account, it'll be on the sidebar, the little gavel, not the gavel, I'm sorry, the little circle with a check mark. That's the LCP section. You can go find layers that you want created, and you can vote for them. If you don't have a Den account, you should. It's free. Sign up. And as you use Den, you will get something called lore, which is points that you can use to vote on these layers every month, right? So we're going to have the same 3 winners as we did last month. It'll be the number 1 layer from the category of unique voters, and then over in the other category of lore committed, meaning people can vote more than once. In that category, we'll have the number 8 and the number 21 as our selected winners for the month of February in 23. So go check that out. I am sort of talking about a marketplace layer with Alxons and a couple of other people over in the coffee layer. So I would imagine that I'm probably going to be like getting people to vote for that. We'll see what happens. Go check it out. I don't know. I haven't looked at it personally recently, so I don't know if it matches exactly what I want to do, but that's what I'll be talking about on the show tomorrow. So whatever you vote for, make sure you do it by Tuesday, February 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. UTC. That is the end of the week-long commitment phase. March. So March LCP, if you submit an original image for the March LCP, you'll get rewarded if you win that little contest that we do every week. So the post is up. Leave your best original image. And if you win, you'll get a basket of lot from the March LCP, meaning whoever wins during March, you will get awarded some of the ownership tokens, some of the lot for those layers, on top of what you may have already voted for, or even if you didn't vote for them. You'll also get 5,000 lore, which will let you vote on more layers, which allows you to get more lot, which allows you to get more matter, which allows you to get more lore. It's a whole machine that keeps going. The more you participate, the more you get. Pretty cool stuff. So drop your image in there by February 20th in that post, and somebody will win. I mentioned Coffee with Den. So that is my weekly show that I do Wednesday mornings. That's super casual. Anybody can show up. There's always a link to join. And we talk about whatever denizens want to talk about that day. It's going to be tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. And everyone who participates does end up as an owner with lot for that layer. And tomorrow, I've got a bunch of things, and I'm going to start offering them for sale from Matter. And this is what I was talking about a minute ago. I haven't really decided how to do that. So that's part of the discussion tomorrow. It's kind of the topic for the show. We'll be talking about how to do a marketplace, how to run it sort of manually among denizens for now. And then eventually, that'll be made into something that's, if you look at the roadmap for Den, there is, a marketplace feature in there too. So this would be maybe like a precursor to that, but basically I just want to sell a bunch of stuff. So if you need computer hardware, if you want Den merch, I've got a bunch of that, and I'm going to be offering a lot of it up for sale for Matter, which is basically free to you if you've been using Den, because if you've been hoarding the Matter, I want to give you something to use it on, especially if it's something that'll help you out. Like I've got, going off script for a second, I've got this 12900K CPU and motherboard that I've never used, but it would be excellent for anybody who needs a new gaming rig to play video games and stuff. And you can buy it with Matter. I just don't know how much yet. So swing by tomorrow. We'll talk about that, or just leave a comment over in the coffee layer, and we'll catch up with you there. DENDAO, back to Den overall. DENDAO meets on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 p.m. UTC and noon Pacific time. And I guess that would be 2 p.m. Central time. And that is open to anybody who wants to join. It's not a show. It's just a call, a meeting, a governance call. You don't have to turn your camera on and stuff to join. You can just hop in and talk to us. You can discuss in chat, or you can leave a reply on the DENDAO post that'll end up in the DENDAO layer, right? So keep an eye on the DENDAO layer. That's where the agenda will show up, and that's where the link to join the call will be as well. World Blockchain Roundtable. Let's do an update on that. So here's an acronym for you. The WBRT DAO has a vote up for the March themes. If you have been following along, you'll see every now and then you'll see a post in the World Blockchain Roundtable layer asking for suggestions for people to put in suggestions for themes. Those get packaged into a DAO vote every month. And so right now we're voting on what to talk about next month. So there should be up to about 13 options in there. It looks like some people have voted already. If you haven't, go and vote on your favorite one, because that's going to directly determine what the hosts talk about on their show every Thursday, on our show, since everybody who participates actually owns that. Let's see. I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. Right. So that'll be, get your votes in on that by Monday the 20th. That's when the cutoff is for that. And if you don't know, the way that you get those lot tokens is to participate in the shows by asking questions. Pretty simple. If you watch and share last week's episode on censorship-resistant decentralized cloud computing using blockchain, that's a mouthful, you will be helping everyone involved get more rewards, because the more views that it gets in its first week, the more all of the participants will get. So it's a group effort there. Go share it. And then this week, episode 91 is going to be on the 16th, 11 a.m. Eastern. The topic's going to be the pros and cons of state governments leveraging blockchain. Seems like there's been a recurring theme all month. These are great, though. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about, what's a pro from one angle and a con from a different angle, some of the same features, right? Because that is a hot debate. I noticed there's a lot of companies and banks and Swift and, things like that are hiring for CBDC related jobs. If you look at job postings from like LinkedIn and stuff, they actually use CBDCs, the term in there. So that's definitely relevant and right now topic. So that'll be cool. Tune in Thursday for that. I think it'll be great. More importantly, leave a question. Let us know exactly what you want us to talk about. And before we get to the AMA, I want to say that there was just a quick update that will hit more on Thursday. I guess I'm bouncing back to the DENDAO section a little bit. But there were some issues. Some people on DEN were noticing that their payout metrics didn't reflect the actual payout that they got. Like the numbers were a little bit different. We found and squashed that bug. And it had nothing to do with the actual payouts. The payouts were correct. The display in the metrics page was incorrect. The way it was calculating, the way it was representing data, there was a bug in that. So it had nothing to do with the payouts. Nothing got broken on payouts. And you did get the actual amount you were supposed to get. It was just the reflected amount on the displaying that on information on the metrics page. So I hope that clears it up for anybody who saw that. Some people noticed that it was a little bit different. So right after this, we'll do an AMA. Be right back.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at Dragonchain.com, America's blockchain.
Yes, do it. Build now at Dragonchain.com. I like that one. So let's get into the AMA. This is every week. The top 3 will get answered, and I believe rewarded with lot 2, the distribution that we talked about earlier on the show. So right at the top, we've got Alexens, who says, thanks for the last replies. I understand it's not easy. Can you provide an update on Dragonscale? There's a link to their website there. We haven't seen any announcement or update since the day it was launched, and at least they're outside the U.S. Legislation. P.S. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. So with Dragonscale, Bit by the Coin replied to that, and I'll just basically reiterate what BitBuy said, which is that Dragonscale, although a Dragonchain built on Dragonchain, is different business. So you would have to go to them to get the updates to figure out what they're going. As far as I know, like they're still doing the thing. I just don't have any updates, and I don't know if Joe would offhand unless he actually contacted them to ask them what they were doing. We'll talk in my answer to the Jacob Wayne's question. We'll talk a little bit about what I mean there, as far as you got to think about whose business it is, that kind of thing. But basically, if you think about something, this is a terrible example, but it's the one that came to my mind. But Bored Ape Yacht Club is on Ethereum, but you wouldn't necessarily go to the Ethereum Foundation to ask them for updates on Bored Apes, right? So just because it's built on it doesn't mean we always know what's going on with them. So I don't have a good answer for you, but I would say hit them up, ask them. I don't know how to contact them, but I'm sure it's on their website. Happy Valentine's Day, though. Thanks for the question. Let's go to Jacob Wayne. So Jacob Wayne is next up. Hello there, Distant. Hello, Jacob. If you were doing an elevator pitch to a normie, how would you pitch Dragonchain, and what about DEN? It's a good question. It's a hard question because I don't know, like from person to person. I don't know. Number one, I don't know what your definition of a normie is. But let's say it's an average person who happens to have a business, right? So there's at least something that I can speak to there. I would say, and again, this is like kind of what I find interesting and important, but what I would say is that right now, everything about how the internet works is kind of evolving and changing. It's obviously very new and everything's still very dynamic, but if you have a business and you want to stay competitive, you're going to have to adopt new technologies as they emerge with new capabilities. Otherwise, your competitors are going to be, they're going to have a competitive edge against you. It's a competitive, supposed to be, in the US anyway, a competitive free market environment. So if you want to keep up, you're going to have to start plugging into things like Web3 infrastructure and stuff like that to with your business. Now, there's a bunch of ways you can do that, and that's the important thing, is that there's a bunch of ways you can do that. And since we don't know what is going to come out on top as like the dominant network or type of infrastructure that wins out of the other. In other words, since we don't know what's going to be like the thing that permanently is in use in the future, what Dragonchain allows you to do as a business is to build right now without having to reinvent the wheel. In other words, you can take your existing production systems that you're using, and you can just tie them in to all of this new stuff that's coming out as it emerges, as it comes out, right? You can even detach from something as you decide not to like it as much and reattach it somewhere else. So you can sort of dynamically evolve your company or your business with the new tech as it comes out, which is like probably the best competitive edge you can have, because you can not worry about wasting resources building out now because you're not sure what's going to be like the thing that everyone uses in the future. That's pretty like, I don't know if that's understandable, like the way that I explained it, but I think that's really important to Dragonchain, is it allows you to pivot and evolve and not have to rewrite your business system every time you do it. In fact, you can take anything that was made you can take an old mainframe, tie it into blockchain today if you want. And you can uniquely do that with Dragonchain. The other thing that I would say is, if you're a normie that doesn't have a business and you don't care about all that stuff, is Dragonchain came up with something that is commonly called measurable proof. And I think that the implications of being able to not have to trust someone that a data point is like real, right? If it's not like the fake news problem or the Ministry of Truth problem, if you're if you've read 1984, stuff like that. Dragonchain has a way of measuring how true something is, which is simple to say but hard to kind of grasp. And so I would probably pitch that to a normie and say, hey, everything that you know, you somewhere down the line you're trusting somebody with that information is as you were presented, So I'm not good at these kinds of questions, but it's a very good question. As far as DEN goes, DEN is an example of how to build something on the internet, how to build a social platform, a publishing platform, a website that doesn't rely solely on this idea of like concentrated monotheistic advertising revenue, right? Where in the late 90s, when the internet was emerging, there was this beautiful, like sort of decentralized information superhighway kind of thing where you could check out a bunch of different places on the internet. And that all sort of collapsed into a half a dozen websites that everyone uses, right? DEN is a demonstration of how to build things for the future in a way that doesn't rely on people technically understanding how all of Web3 and blockchain and all that stuff works. Yeah, so it's a different way of building the internet that doesn't rely on advertising solely for its revenue, right? So there's my best attempt. I don't know if those are great pitches to a normie, and again, I don't know what constitutes a normie, but there's my pitch, and that's what I'll do today. All right. So third question. Let's move along. I am for I am. So I am for I am has put together something really interesting called the Umbrella Promise, and has even written a white paper explaining what that means and how it could be used to, I don't know if fix is the right word, but to improve the political process and the governance processes, right, that we see today, especially in the US where I live. That's my main experience with it. So the context is around that, which is a legislative DAO where citizens that live within a district vote, and the representative must vote per the DAO. If that sounds complicated, it just means that representatives have to vote in favor of, their constituents. You got to do what the people that you're there to represent tell you to do. Question: how would Dragonchain handle citizens' identities so that only registered voters that currently live within the district could log into the site or an app and cast votes in the Legislative DAO? So how do you handle identity in a decentralized system or in a DAO to where you know that you're only getting votes from people that qualify in that district, which is obviously really important if this thing's going to work. So again, Bit by the Coin has replied to that with a link. There's a really good blog post on Dragonchain's website talking about how to handle identity systems. If you've heard about Factor, if you've heard about MiFi, that's specifically something that can be used for this, where you can handle that a bunch of different ways. And a lot of people tend to handle it in a really intrusive, like KYC. Every aspect of your identity is in a database somewhere so they can verify you are who you say you are, that kind of thing. That's one way to do it. There's a lot of dangers that come with that too. If you've kept up with any of the identity theft trends, they're not getting any better. And putting everything into a central database where it's kind of like a trove, a target for people to hack into and then sell your data, that kind of thing. There's better ways to do that. And one very good way is Factor and what MiFi is doing. And DEN will be using that as well. That's coming to DEN at some point down the road. But read that blog post. And I would say that blog post on identity is probably going to be the best answer that I could give you. This is how you can build a system in a way that can ensure that you're only getting people that vote in a district that qualify to vote in that district. And it's done in a way that is new and novel and I think very interesting. So go click on that link and read that blog post, because that's the best. I couldn't give a better answer than that. So go do that. So there's the 3 AME questions for today. All right. Let's see what else we've got over here. So we're going to start doing, we had the vote that passed on demonstrating Dragonchain tech. We'll start doing that. We don't have any featured content this week, so we'll move along to talking about merch. If you go to Dragonchain.store, there's a bunch of different merch in there. The Dragonchain family crest merch is discounted for this month. You get 10% off if you use the discount or the coupon code family-crest, so family crest. I've always liked that crest. I think it's really cool. I don't know who designed it, but it's really well done, and I have some of that merch. So go get it. Anything that has the crest on it is for sale. So use that discount code. In closing, I will say watch Super Happy Dragon Lucky next Tuesday at 11 Eastern or 4 UTC. Watch World Blockchain Roundtable Thursday at 11 or 4 p.m. UTC, same time, but on Thursday. And follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, and Jojo Rowe. Like, comment, and share. Thank you. Hope I got the questions and updates out good enough for you this week. And I think maybe Joe will be back next week. So if not, I'll be here probably again. So see you. Have a good day.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. Adaptable approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.